Yeah, brothers and sisters, I want to come on here and that last video cut off a little bit before I was done with the message. I was practically done with the message. Uh, I want people to understand, that not misunderstand that I don't believe that the Lord is his return is soon. And doing these videos, that's the message that I'm trying to get across. The point that I'm trying to get across is the rapture date setting, and the dates come and go, and nothing happens, and then right after that they start setting new dates, and they always have reasons why the one thing they start speculating as to why the one date failed, and because they were using a wrong calendar or whatever, they'll come up with some excuse when the thing fails rather than just uh, understand that the Lord, it's my understanding that the Lord is going to return at his appointed time, at a time of his choosing and not man's. And that once you set a date and put a date on that day that he's going to return, that's a guarantee that that's going to be a day he's not going to return, because he's not going to make his decision on the day that he's going to return based on some a date that some man thinks he should return on. He's the Lord, and he is not. I just wanted to mention that in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 44, where he's telling them about the thief that would come, and he would have watched, and he would not have suffered his house to be broken up. And that's number 43. But number 44, the very next verse says, "Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh." In such an hour that you think not, the Son of Man cometh. So he's telling his bride to be watching and to look for the signs and to be watching and everything, and be alert to what you're seeing going on around you, because he's going to come in an hour that you think not. He's going to return in an hour that you think not. Even for the people that are watching, he may return in an hour that we think not and surprise us. His time, the one thing that I wanted to point out that he brought to my attention is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verses 8 through, I'm going to go 8 through 10. I'm just going to say 8 through 10 here. "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat." So a day to him is as 1,000 years. So the Lord's timeline that he's on and the timeline we're on, what we think of as a certain amount of time, is two different things. And so when the Lord says he's at the door and he's about ready to return, and you hear that, you were to receive that into your spirit, and then you're to put that out, and that gives you the idea that the Lord's going to come back tomorrow. He's going to return tomorrow because he's telling me that he's at the door. But here in 2 Peter, in the 3rd chapter, it says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day." I will give a personal example of something that happened to me, and something that I was told was going to happen. And just like a lot of people, when they hear the thing that the Lord is at the door and he's just about ready to return, it's just in a similar fashion, I made the same mistake of thinking that, okay, what he's telling me this thing now, be ready for it and be watching for it. So that means that this thing is going to be taking place soon. I better be watching, I better be on guard and alert and everything, because I'm ready to go through whatever I got to go through, because he's warning me that this is coming. And the example was, he told me and revealed to me that before you get started to the beginning of your ministry and what you're going to do for me, and what I'm going to call you to do, you're going to have a wilderness experience, like similar to what he went through before he went to the cross, where he was taken up to that mountain and he was shown all those kingdoms, and he was offered all those kingdoms if he would just bow down and worship the devil. Everything would be his. The whole world could be his. He was offered the whole world just prior to going to the cross, to the whole reason that the key reason that he came here and was here. Yes, the ministry was 3.5 years, but the big event was the cross. And so just before he was going to go to Jerusalem and go on the cross, here this offer gets made to him. And similar to me, in the month of April, at the end of April of 2017, just as I had received over 400 friend requests from all these ministries from all over the world in the United States, and Christians from all over, because the Lord told me on that last Sabbath day in the month of April of 2017 that he was going to build a social network, to set up a social network for my ministry. And that day I had received over 400 friend requests, even though in 8 years I had only accumulated 179 Facebook friends. All of a sudden, on that last Sabbath day, in the month of April of the year 2017, all of a sudden I get all these over 400 friend requests in one day. And I was overwhelmed. And all of them, I just went down the line and I just approved them. And some of those people that I approved, they were tares. It wasn't all wheat, because the enemy had put in some tares mixed in with the wheat, knowing what was coming. And so he, was trying to get some people in there that was going to try to scam me and set me up or whatever it was, so that all of the whole 400 and some weren't all choices that God chose out of all those people that sent the friend request. But I will say most of them were. Most of the 400 people were set for the social network that he was setting up. But there might have been 1 or 2% that were tares. But when I was told about this wilderness experience situation that I would endure before the ministry started, that was in July of 2014 that I was given that warning. But when did, and I thought, of course, as I'm saying right now, trying to make this point about his time and our time, I thought he was talking about something that was shortly going to come to pass. But when this thing finally actually did occur, it occurred at the last week of April of 2017, almost 3 years later. So what, I was told what was coming 3 years ahead of time. And I anticipated that it could be happening at any time. And so this is the point I'm trying to make about his return. I'm not doubting, I'm not saying that he isn't going to return soon. What my point has been in these last few videos that I've done is I've got one point. I was making one point. The rapture did not occur on or before June 21st, 2018. That is my point. Another rapture date was set, and another rapture date failed, and the dates went by. And I'm sure that the people that set that rapture date will come up with a new one soon. And one of those people that he did a video about an article that was put in this magazine, which is probably what I'm assuming got all this started. There was this publishing company that put out a newspaper article, and then a video was done on the newspaper article, and it was basically saying that the rapture was going to occur on June 21st, 2018. And the video that the person did explaining the newspaper article about the rapture occurring on June 21st, 2018, that video went viral. And this person here, he did a video about the article, and he did a video about the fact that the video went viral. And so, and then a lot of other people, they started jumping on the bandwagon of the June 21st, 2018 date based on that viral video that was from that publishing company that got everything all started. And then a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon. But the point of it was just one more date that got set that was came and went, just like the story that was circulating a few months back about, the rapture date happening on Easter Sunday of this year that came and went. And all I'm saying is that's my point. I think that people should stop setting dates. They should stop setting dates because the point is a day with the Lord is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day. And the Lord is going to return at His appointed time when He decides He's going to come back for His bride. And He's not going to come back when some man predicts He's going to come back. And it's just that simple. So if anybody puts a date on His return, that's a guaranteed stamp that He's not going to return. And that's the only point I want to make now. I have another video that I still haven't done. I'm going to try to get up tomorrow and do tomorrow. And in that video, I'll explain to everybody some of the reasons why that I don't think the rapture is going to happen tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to happen 5 years from now. I'm just saying the reason that I don't think it was going to happen on June 21st is when I made that first video is because there's things that the Lord has revealed to me that He is going to be doing in these coming days and weeks and months. And those things that has been revealed to me have not occurred yet. And I'm not the only one that He's revealing this stuff to. There are other people out there with channels that He has given the same message to them. Exactly. With maybe different details. Maybe it's not exactly the same as all the stuff that I was told. But the point of it is, there are a few things that are going to occur before He comes back. And those things have not occurred. And this is why that I think that it wasn't going to happen on the 21st. And then the last thing I want to say regarding that return date is that I believe that it's going to be on or around the beginning of World War III, Ezekiel 38:39. when the bombs come down and start falling and the nuclear explosions are going off, we will then at that point, that will be when he returns. And a lot of people have had dreams and been shown things about the rapture, and that was a common theme in a lot of the dreams, was that, as they said, as the people were going up, nuclear explosions were occurring, and they were up above the earth, and they were looking down, and they were seeing explosions on the planet. So I'm of the belief that that is what's going to occur. And then after World War III, and out of the ashes and the rising of the phoenix, and as the New World Order's slogan goes, it's order out of chaos. And out of the ashes, the phoenix rises. Their symbol of the phoenix is the bird that rises out of the ashes. And I believe that out of the ashes of World War III will come the Antichrist, and will come the 7-year peace plan. It'll come out of the ashes of World War III, and that goes all the way back to the 1890s. This idea of the World War III goes all the way back to the Freemasons' plans for a one world government and all that stuff. There was a letter that was written by Albert Pike to his friend, that people have that copy of that letter, and it outlines in that letter 3 world wars, and that the Illuminati planned to set up the one world government. 2 of those wars have already occurred, World War I and World War II. And the description of those wars and how they would get started are outlined in that letter by Pike. And the outline for the World War III war that Albert Pike mentions is a war that's about religion, and Christians and Jews and Muslims, going to war. Doesn't that sound familiar to the stuff that's going on right now? Well, that was written in a letter in the 1890s by Albert Pike, something you can also look up. And that is when I think the 7-year peace plan is going to come. And I will get into more details on a future video, maybe possibly tomorrow, on that. I thank everybody for tuning in. I thank you for subscribing. I thank you for your comment output to the channel. And I thank all the new subscribers for subscribing. And if people want to go on a channel where they're going to hear the truth and get the truth and nothing but the truth, because like Jesus said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So the point of it is, as a subscriber, do you want to listen to a person that's channel is dedicated to serving the Lord and is a true watchman on the wall, a true prophet, where you're going to hear true Bible teachings that are not going to be watered down and changed, and you're not going to be hearing lies and be getting all this false stuff and false rapture dates and stuff. If you want to hear the truth and spend your time when you do come on YouTube with the ministry channel, when you're not in prayer and reading the Bible and studying and spending time with the Lord, then this is the channel to subscribe to. And there's other ones out there that are worthy also, but there's a lot of false teachers, preachers, watchmen on the wall, and prophets out there. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing on a lot of channels, and just beware. And I haven't up to this point ever called anybody out by name on a channel and called them out. And as far as I know, the Lord doesn't want me to do that at this point. If anything changes, then that'll be, the policy could change in the future. But as far as I know right now, There's no name call. I'm not going to call any channel out by name, but I am going to expose the overall falseness of something that's going on and point it out. And I don't think that requires name calling. Goodbye for now, and God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in.